Okay, so we're now only a scant 48 days away from WrestleMania. Yes, only at the 7-week mark away from WrestleMania. So, from Lafayette, Louisiana, Raw was there. Fitting that they're also mentioned earlier today that WrestleMania 30, or WrestleMania XXX, will be the Superdome, New Orleans, Louisiana. Hopefully they get the electrical figured out so we don't have a Super Bowl issue. So we begin with John Cena and CM Punk. CM Punk challenges John Cena for his number contendership for WrestleMania. That match will happen next week. Okay. Decent. Those two should have a pretty nice match. It'll probably end in a no contest, which will potentially lead to their triple threat match with The Rock, which would be pretty decent. Mark Henry took on Sin Cara, and Sin Cara got absolutely destroyed by Mark Henry, which kind of makes sense. The Miz took on Cesaro in a match where there's no disqualifications. Miz gets a victory on him. So I guess now the Miz-Cesaro feud is going to keep on going. Del Rio had a match with Ziggler. It was kind of a shortened version of their match on Main Event from last week. If you're not watching Main Event, you should watch it. I recommend DVRing it, so that way you can skip through the recaps. But you get really solid, longer matches on Main Event than you get on Raw. So it was kind of like their match from Main Event. It was nice, solid. These two guys have really good chemistry. I do like the interactions between Big E Langston, Ricardo Rodriguez, AJ, all those people on the outside of the ring. It actually makes it work. Big E got in the ring after Del Rio got the victory, hit the big ending, or whatever he calls his finisher, which then led to Del Rio and Ziggler going, I'm cashing the Money in the Bank briefcase. Ricardo ran off with it. Now, I was thinking when I saw the briefcase and it's all beaten up, does Ziggler carry that thing with him? Because I know champions carry the belts with them, because they've made mention that if you try to do check bag or mail it, you run the risk of it not being there. So I wonder if Ziggler actually carries the briefcase with him when he travels, or if it just gets packed with everything else. So all in all, not a bad match. Swagger came down with Dutch Martel and actually went through his State of the Union. All in all, not a bad little promo. I do still find it to be kind of odd that the people who are displayed as American patriots are normally also given the pseudo-bigot zealot angle, and that the face and the good guy in the storyline is actually the former Mexican aristocrat billionaire. Either way, it built some pretty nice heat going to the match with Del Rio. Then Swagger had a match with Bryan. This is a pretty solid match. Bryan did lose, but it was a real nice, great back and forth. Those two guys could probably have a pretty solid feud, both having really good wrestling backgrounds. One of our big main events was Jericho, Sheamus, and Ryback taking on the Shield. The first time the Shield has had a match on Raw. This match was very good. Pushing Ryback as this undeniably upset and pissed off, just angry guy was great, with Jericho trying to keep him under control. The Shield did a really great job when it came to isolating Ryback. Nice job with the quick in and outs, nice tags. It worked really well. So the finish comes from when you see Dean Ambrose in the walls of Jericho. Not quite to the Lion Tamer angle. But then all of a sudden you just see, when they first show it, you just see a flying knee come from an angle. And I didn't know if he went from a turnbuckle or what. Then they show it from a different angle. And Seth Rollins does a springboard to the top rope. So then jumps off that. It's a flying knee to the side of the head of Jericho. 1, 2, 3, Shield is victorious. Nice match, good match. It shows those guys have some fantastic chemistry. Wade Barrett showed a portion of the movie he's going to be in Dead Man Down. Now, I've seen that trailer like a dozen times. Having not paused it, I think I see him every now and then, because I keep seeing a big arm and a gun. The interesting scene with that movie, it's weird that he has 2 movies going into major theaters, that both seem good in The Call and Dead Man Down. It's really interesting to see that. Sheamus then kind of cut down that he's in the movie, but he's really not in it. Seemed like kind of a waste of a segment. The tattooed dancing team of Tensai and Brodus Clay teamed up with one of the Funkadactyls to take on Rosa Mendez, Primo, and Epico. Pretty nice match, decent. You know, I do kind of like the tag team finisher that you get from Tensai Brodus Clay. It's a double splash. 1, 2, 3, that team's victorious. Alright, pretty good. I like that. Damien Sandow was going to have a match with Kofi Kingston. They just began to viciously attack him, which then made R-Truth come down and save Kofi Kingston. Maybe they'll once again reform the tag team of Rhodes Scholars, which broke up after they were unsuccessful when it came to capturing the tag team titles. Randy Orton took on Kane in a rematch of WrestleMania. Overall, nice match, good solid back and forth. Kane, for a person wrestling for as long as he has, is still really solid in the ring. And Bryan came down, distracted Kane, RKO, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we get to the Rock celebration. Rock comes out and unveils a new championship. Because the spinner belt's been around for 8 years. Which means John Cena's theme music has been the same for 8 years. So he changes shirts, but he won't change theme music. So they get rid of that title. And then they bring out the giant WWE Championship faceplate that CM Punk showed like 6 months ago as the main medallion. Doesn't look too bad. Then the side medallions are little Brahma bulls. Those look really bad. The title itself looks like something somebody would actually kind of like design in like the creative belt session in like a SmackDown. It looks pretty good. It's better than the one that rotates, but still I would have rather seen, I don't know, maybe something like Gold Faction Winged Eagle, revisitation of the Undisputed Championship belt. But I guess doing another belt forces people who own titles to go get another one. All in all, decent Raw. Then John Cena came down and got attacked by CM Punk. Punk then threw his copy of the title down and said that he wanted that one. Not bad. Oh, and next week, Paul Heyman's going to take on Vince McMahon. In a segment that was really kind of dull when Vicky Guerrero and Paul Heyman were in the ring. And then she mentioned who her assistant's going to be. And then they did that old joke from The Office, where it was, you are the assistant to the main supervisor at Raw, not assistant managing supervisor. It wasn't really funny, it kind of just fell flat. It was weird seeing Brad Maddox in that sort of role, made me think of when Johnny Nitro did the same thing for Eric Bischoff. All in all, the wrestling was pretty decent. They did a lot of more storyline building. Not a bad Raw. Come off a pay-per-view that had some high notes and some low notes. Not bad. All in all, we do have 6 more Raws before we actually hit WrestleMania. So I'm looking for things to really, really get ratcheted up.